Everyone, and very warm welcome to today's episode of Unshakeable People podcast. And today we're picking a very sensitive topic that unfortunately has been coming up a lot with my clients within my coaching practice, especially in the past couple of years. And this topic is divorce and separation, something that many people have been unfortunate enough or fortunate enough to experience, especially as the pandemic hit and so many families have been challenged with a lot of new circumstances and obstacles, and our environment has changed so much with all this chaos that brought so much disruption and unhappy feelings, negativity, unhappy moments into our lives. And I have not been an exception. I also went through a very difficult, challenging, emotionally draining, stressful divorce. And this experience has had a lot of impact on my life. And today I want to talk about this process. How do you go about it? How do you cope with all the new challenges that life throws at you at this time? How do you cope with all the emotional pressure you get from your family, your friends, yourself, your own perception of how your life was before and what it is going to look like in future? And how do you just overcome it? How do you keep moving? And what divorce and separation really means in terms of your life in general, in terms of your well-being? How do you come back to living your life to the full? How do you change it? Because divorce or separation, it brings inevitable change, huge change actually, into your life. So today's episode is all about that. And yes, let's just get started. And the point where I would like to start, and this is actually something that I have been working on myself for quite a while, is this. Let's try to look at this new change in circumstance as a pivotal point of your life. It is so substantial, it is so crucial that it is of utterly high importance to be able to overcome all the negative feelings that your divorce brings with it, and these being the circumstances that are beyond your understanding even sometimes. What I found with my experience of divorce was that for a very long time I could not understand how could this happen to me. How was it possible in the first place that I found myself in this situation? Because I have been doing, throughout my life, I have been doing everything to be right, to be a good wife, to be a good mom, to be a good person. And for over 16 years of my marriage, I was absolutely sure and convinced that I had a good family. I had a good, strong relationship with my partner, with the father of my children, which was built on trust and appreciation of each other. And then suddenly, out of the blue, you get this news that actually it all was wrong. It wasn't like this at all. All those years you've been living in some illusionary world that you created for yourself, and your partner was living somewhere else. And I'm now addressing my message more to those who have been left by their partners, who have been cheated on, who have experienced infidelity and experienced this feeling of emptiness when you get the news. How do you cope with that? How can you possibly take those news with gratitude? How can you possibly take those news in a decent, kind of civilized way when all you experience in reality is just emptiness? It's the feeling of being lost. You have been building this life for a number of years. You thought you shared your dreams, you thought you shared your past, present and future with another person, and you thought that you had this trust going on, you had this connection going on, and then suddenly it all breaks. Well, unfortunately, in the real world, especially in the real world today, it happens a lot that people just decide at one point that they want something different. They want to experience something new, something more exciting, something that makes them more happy, that makes them feel more alive. I don't know, I haven't been on that side, to be honest, and I didn't even get a chance to speak to my ex-husband about the reasons why he did this in the first place. It so happened that we found ourselves in different countries, and he broke the news to me over the phone right after the New Year's Eve, when I was separated from my entire family and I was alone, and the borders were closed due to COVID restrictions. The planes were not going up in the air. It was practically impossible to cross the border, so I was locked in another country. And that's when he decided to break the news to me that he has been having an affair for a very long time by then, and that he decided to choose that family over our family. And my kids were with him at that time, and I was not even sure that I would have the opportunity to see them again. It was heartbreaking. Heartbreaking is the least I can say. It's actually very difficult to express in words what it really was. And at first my mind just went blank. I remember just standing there in the middle of the kitchen in the middle of the night when we've just had this conversation, and the one thing I couldn't believe most that was that he actually told me over the phone. He didn't wait for me to come back, and he didn't have the courage to look me in the eye and actually say that in a one-on-one conversation. He was my best friend. He was my soulmate. We've been together since very early in the years, and we've been together when we did not have much, and we've done a very long way side by side, and all of the things that we have built over the years were substantial. We worked really, really hard on building a good life, both of us. And then when this happened, I just couldn't, I couldn't put the puzzle straight in my mind. I couldn't understand how was it possible. And I felt myself lost. I felt like I was covered with this wave, like a tsunami. And I just went underwater. Straight away, I was drowning. I was drowning. I didn't see the way out of this. And I started having all sorts of issues with myself. First of all, I started doubting myself. I started thinking that, well, there we go. I must be the reason why all of this happened. I must have done something wrong. And he was acting he was very cruel on me. He never gave me a chance to sit down and talk. He never, not to this day even, and it's been a couple of years already, he never expressed any compassion to the fact that we have lost this relationship. He never expressed an opinion that he had any gratitude for anything that I have ever done in that relationship. He never expressed any regret with regards to all the years that we have spent together and that it actually ended like it ended. He was blaming me openly for everything. He was doing everything he could to make himself look better in his own eyes. And he was making up stuff on the go that never existed, that wasn't true. And he actually admitted it himself later on, but many years after. But it didn't give any sort of satisfaction, any feeling of making me better. Because my level of suffering at that first point was so tremendous that most probably I would never forget what he has done to me and how he was covering up for himself, how mean this was, how inconsiderate this was towards me, a person who has been always loyal, always good, who has never harmed anyone, including him, who was always there to help, to share, who has done a lot to make the life that we've been living together a reality. And we've had a good life. We've had a huge house. We've had 2 German shepherds. We had 2 beautiful kids. We gave them education, development. I took them to every single class or session that I could find. They've done sports, they've done dance, gymnastics, drawing, arts, everything they ever wanted. And I was always there with them, sharing the moments and sharing the moments with him. I don't think you can ever forget that. But today's episode is not about forgetting. I've had numerous conversations on this subject with my clients. And every time it comes down to understanding this one thing. You cannot and you do not have to forget what happened to you. What is important that you do is that you understand that what happened to you is not your fault. There might have been something that you could have done differently. But right now, it doesn't matter. Right now, you need to find strength within yourself and move on. You need to understand that it's about you, not the environment. It's about you who now needs to survive, who now needs to get out of this, who now needs to find your way and continue with your life. You have been put through a whole deal of struggle. You have been put through some very difficult time. But right now, it's time for you to think about yourself. It's time for you to start caring for yourself. It's time for you to concentrate all of your energy, all of your effort on becoming better, on healing, on gaining peace of mind, on gaining balance, and on eventually getting your life back. There was a time once when I did not think that I would ever recover from this. There was a time when I truly believed that I would not have enough strength within me. I would just not find it to fight it, to stand back up from my knees. And essentially, divorce and separation very often leaves you in a much worse place than you were before. Because even financially, you have to share and split everything that you have been building for years and years of your married life. And now, if you're lucky, you have only half. You also lose the partner. You lose the one person that you trusted most. You lose that strong connection, that one strong connection that you've been building for many, many years throughout your life. And now you need to find a new partner. And you need to build this relationship from scratch. And with years, it is becoming quite a bit of a challenge. You need a lot of time for that. Relationships are not built in moments. Especially when you already have experience and you understand what you're looking at, what you're looking for. You understand what you want. And you're no longer 16, 17 years old when nothing matters but just the butterflies in your stomach. When you have kids especially, it makes it very difficult. Makes it difficult to match with someone, because chances are that that someone has gone through something similar in the past, and they also have some sort of experience, some sort of life behind them, some sort of life that they also need to leave in the past in order to move on and continue. I find it very challenging to get out of these waters. And a lot of people who come to me, they don't say, I want to heal. They don't say, I need help to get out. They say, I want to succeed. I want to get the result. I want to achieve. I have this goal that I've set to myself and that now I need to work towards. That's good. That's a very good start. But overlooking the importance of healing is a huge mistake. Because having been through all that, I know one thing. When you only find yourself in this situation, when you find yourself knocked down by circumstances like this, first you fall, you feel absolutely naked, and then at some point you put all your effort into trying to stand up. You set yourself goals, not realizing whether those goals are realistic in the first place, whether those goals are achievable for you here and now, being in the state where you are. And most often than not, those goals are set out of the desire to prove that other person wrong, to prove to them that you're not beaten, you're not defeated, you are much better than they have ever spoken of you. You're much stronger than they thought. And if you achieve all that, then they will understand how much they have hurt you. Then they will understand what a mistake they have made by making that move and choosing someone else over you. But here's the thing. You would never get that satisfaction. Because whoever hurt you They knew at that time that they were hurting you. They knew exactly what they were doing. You made up this idea in your own brain that they just didn't understand. That this all happened by accident, or it all happened because they've had some blackout in their brain at some point. They didn't. It was their choice. And they have made this choice consciously. And if they wanted to hurt you, they did it on purpose. If they wanted to say the words that they did say, they did it on purpose. And the purpose of that was for them to appear better in their own lives, in their own understanding of what they were doing. They were trying to clear themselves up for the sake of not feeling all that guilt, for the sake of not feeling all the pressure of being the one who cheated, of being the one who's walking away from the family, of being the one who's breaking this thing up. They just didn't have the courage to face you, to come to you and say, look, we've been very good together. We've had and shared so many beautiful moments. We have kids, we've built a life, but I just don't have it in me anymore. I don't see us going and moving forward. I'm sorry. I do not want to hurt you. Tell me what I can do to make it better and easier. But we need to work out the way that would be both beneficial and comfortable for us both. We need to sit down and talk about how we would be dealing with this with regards to our kids, with regards to our arrangements, our life arrangements, financial arrangements. In most cases that I see in my coaching practice and with my clients, it never happens that way. People are too scared of themselves. They don't face themselves. They lie to themselves. They deceive themselves in the idea that it was somebody else's fault that this happened, in the idea that somebody else was wrong, that somebody else was too ugly, too lazy, too fat, too whatever else. It can be anything. But it's not true. Relationships are difficult. Relationships are built over years. Relationships is something to be working on consistently. Something to nurture if you want it, and something to overcome. I have never seen any couple or any person, individual, who has not experienced challenge in their relationships ever. I have never seen a relationship, be it business relationship or an individual relationship, that was going smoothly, running smoothly for years and years without a single glitch, without a single argument, without a single moment when this relationship could just fall apart. Just because somebody said something and somebody reacted in some way, and that's it. It is so easy to break the relationship. It is so easy to destroy something that you have been building for such a long time just by making this choice. It is so easy to walk out on someone. But it is so difficult to build stronger relationships, to make them work, to sustain them, to hold yourself accountable for what you're doing. It takes hard work to actually have these relationships in the first place. And what's hurting you most, if you're the one who found yourself in a situation when your partner just walked out on you, what hurts you most is the understanding that you've lost that relationship. It's not the money. It's not the comfort. It's not the assets that you've built. It's the interpersonal connection that you have lost. And there's been this Harvard study when they studied, it is the longest running study on happiness on people in history. It's been running for 80 years. And they've been studying happiness and success. And in short, what they found was that happiness is primarily built on strong relationships. And this is exactly what you lost. And that is why you feel unhappy. That is why your heart is broken. That is why you feel lost, stuck, overwhelmed. You don't know where to go. You find yourself in the darkest place. And you're not sure if you're ever going to recover from this. Well, let me tell you something, you will. There will be a day when you wake up and you will understand that now you can start looking. Now you can start smiling. Now you want to read a new book. Now you want to go and take a shower. Now you want to go out in the garden and just see how your flowers are doing, how your plants are doing. Now you want to pay attention to your household. You want to clean your space, clear your space. You want to take interest into your job. It will come back. Give it time. It's hard. But I promise you, divorce and separation, it's not the end. It's actually very far from it. What you need to take from this, and what I want you to take away from this episode, is that divorce and separation is a lesson. It's a lesson to be learned, and the lesson to use to build your wings. And now, when you recover, when you start this recovery process, when you start caring for yourself, when you start nurturing yourself, when you start paying attention to your mind, your body, and your soul, when you start understanding yourself, when you start loving yourself, now you can start to fly. Because your wings are there. Nobody has taken them away. They have been cut. They have been burned. They have been painful. But they're still there. Because it's you. Same you. That was before the divorce and separation. You haven't changed. Your environment has. People around you have changed. Your circumstances changed. But you remain the same. You still have that power, that ability, that fire inside you. You just need to find your way back. You need to find your way back to your soul. And when this happens, you'll understand. Divorce and separation was one of the best things that have ever happened to you. It gave you the lesson that you would never forget. The lesson that you've learned from, and from now on, you are much stronger. You're much more capable. You're just unshakable. I wish you all the best. Thank you very much for joining me for today's episode. If you like what you hear, follow me on social media. Please subscribe to my channel on YouTube. Visit my website. Subscribe to my podcast on all the podcasting platforms out there. And please drop me a comment if you have any suggestions for topics, or if you have any remarks on what you've just heard. I wish you the best day, and I wish you the best life. Thank you very much, and see you soon.